Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today on General Hospital, Britt makes a big discovery. Kai finally sees Drew for who he is, and Trina learns the whole truth about Drew's blackmailing of her mother. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At the Five Poppies, Britt wakes up with a hangover and blanks Jason for it. Britt dresses and receives a nasty call from Pascal, ordering her to report to work in the lab. She grabs a key card from the dresser and puts Jason's burner phone in a keepsake box. What does Britt uncover? The doctor heads to the lab and finds Pascal and Tomas lingering in the halls. When she asks why, Pascal yells at her that it's none of her business and she needs to get to work, which only makes her suspicious. Later, Britt goes to Tomas begging for help moving a server in her office as the buzzing is distracting her. When he claims he can't leave his post because of the rules, she threatens to tell you-know-who that Tomas is the reason she's behind schedule. Tomas leaves, Britt opens the door he was guarding, and she's stunned to see Joss and Vaughn tied up inside the room. Summer fun is over. In her office, Carly tells Rocco and Danny that summer is over, but she would like them to come back next summer, possibly as lifeguards. They thank her for the opportunity. Before the boys leave, Carly asks Danny if he's heard from his dad. Danny says he's heading home soon, but feels right now it's best if he stays away. Danny explains how Drew served them all with restraining orders to keep them away from Scout. Because they are minors, Rocco's mom was served, so as long as his dad stays away, he can still legally see Scout as he's not been served. Chase asks for a favor. Chase runs into Judge Herrin at Bobby's, and he wants to talk to her about Willow Tate. The judge says she's already ruled on that case, but Chase wants to tell her that Willow is a wonderful mother and deserves to see her kids. The judge explains that in cases like this, if the parent denied visitation shows growth during the next scheduled hearing, then they'd probably be given a generous visitation schedule. He thanks her and takes off. The judge pulls out her phone. The judge makes a call and warns someone that a detective is asking questions about the Corinthos case. What has Liz stunned? Willow arrives at the hospital and speaks with Liz. She wants Liz to hear this from her and not secondhand. She's getting back together with Drew. Willow and Liz head into the break room, and Liz is dumbfounded, reminding her that Drew is the reason she lost her kids. Liz asks if she still loves Drew. Willow says yes, no, she doesn't know. All she knows is he can help her get her kids back for good. Willow tells her about the power Drew holds, including how he reached across the ocean to stop her from seeing Michael in Germany. She says Drew always gets what he wants, and she wants her kids back. Liz asks if Drew gets her kids back, if she'll keep them from Michael. Willow confirms she will. Willow warns Willow that she is selling her soul. Willow insists she knows who Drew is and who she is dealing with, but she'll gladly trade her soul for her kids. Liz tries to convince her that she doesn't need Drew to get her kids back because she's enough on her own. Willow feels Drew is her best option and she doesn't have a choice. Will Trina get the answers she seeks? In Portia's office, she and Isaiah begin taking each other's clothes off and eventually have sex on her office sofa. After they dress, and Isaiah swears he didn't plan this. She didn't either, as most of her plans blow up in her face. She picks her wedding ring up off the floor, but has no regrets. However, it shouldn't have happened here, as she is his boss. That's when Trina bursts in. Trina needs to speak with her mom, so Isaiah leaves them. Trina explains she needs answers as to why she and Dad have been feuding with Drew for months. Portia admits, "It all comes back to you." Portia spills everything to Trina, how she altered Heather's tests to keep her in prison to protect her daughter, and that Drew found out and has been blackmailing her and her father. She cries that she could lose her job, her medical license, or even go to prison. She goes on to explain that she initially kept this from her father, which only angered him further and exacerbated the tension between them. Trina feels responsible, but Portia insists that Drew is the monster at fault here. Trina is glad to finally know the truth, and she and her mom embrace. Kai learns the truth. In Drew's office, Kai stands at the door and overhears Curtis arguing with Drew, who is happy that Curtis has to watch his family suffer. He overhears Drew telling Curtis he had to pay him back for costing him Willow by sending Stella to jail for bending the insurance rules, and there is still the matter of his wife. Curtis says this isn't about Portia, it's about his aunt. Drew gloats to him that he should let Stella know when he visits her in prison that he's the reason she's there. Curtis warns, "I'll see you dead before that happens." He storms out of Drew's office. Kai heads into the office, noting that Curtis just seemed really upset when they passed one another in the hall. Drew says Curtis is upset about his aunt, and he naturally will do anything to help her, but if she did commit fraud, his hands are tied. Drew asks if he found Carly, and Kai tells him that she's at the Metro Court. Drew leaves, and Kai makes a call claiming to be checking in on the status of the Stella Henry investigation for the congressman. He is told they are following up on his request and conducting a thorough investigation. What does Stella ask of Jordan? At the PCPD, Stella shares her fears with Jordan that Curtis may do something he regrets regarding Drew, so she begs him to talk Curtis down. Curtis eventually arrives at the station, and Stella and Jordan have just come from the arraignment, where Alexis managed to get Stella out on bail. Curtis goes to post bail, and Jordan tries to talk to him. Curtis knows what she's going to say, that he should let it go, but Drew will never let this go. Drew asks Carly to do what? Back in Carly's office, she advises the boys that seeing Scout would be a mistake, and Drew would only use it against them. That's when Drew arrives, and Danik asks why he served Rocco with papers. Drew says that where Danny goes, Rocco goes. Rocco pleads, "We're her brothers." Drew notes that technically, Danny's only a half, and Rocco is nothing. Carly snaps at Drew and warns him to back off after he threatens that he can still press charges against Danny. Carly sends the kids out and then tells Drew that the only person he is punishing is Scout. He should be grateful that those boys want to spend time with Scout, who is grieving her mother. He suggests she stop worrying about them and focus on Michael. Drew tells her about the bribed judge, which he's certain Sonny is behind, and that a new judge will make sure Michael doesn't get custody. Carly can't wait for Diane to tear him and Willow apart, as any judge will see that Willow is unstable. Drew strongly suggests she convince Michael to take the deal he offered him, as it's the only chance she and Michael have to remain in Wiley and Amelia's lives. In the show's final moments, at the Five Poppies, Joss tells Britt they need her help to get out of here. Britt is stunned, closes the door, and rushes off. Joss is left in disbelief. Here's hoping Britt's running to find Jason. Chase arrives at the hospital to see Willow. Before she can tell him of her decision, he tells her about seeing the judge, and he has great news for her and her kids. Rocco and Danny head to the pier to take Jason's speedboat out. Suddenly, Rocco spots a body floating in the water. It's a woman floating face down, and it's clear it's the judge by her blouse. An angry Trina arrives at Drew's office. Kai says he's not here, and then proceeds to tell her his eyes has been opened to the monster Drew is. He feels like an idiot for not listening to her earlier, and promises to do anything to make this up to her and her parents. She's glad as she needs his help. At the station, Jordan begs Curtis not to let Drew compromise him and his family any further. Curtis says it's too late and storms off. In her office, Isaiah drops by to check on Portia. She explains that everything is now out in the open with Trina and the secrets have been lifted. He takes her hand and apologizes if he made her day harder, but she assures him he didn't. She says her marriage was broken long ago and it's all Drew's fault. Tick tick, Portia, still not taking some of the blame for what you did. In Carly's office, Drew gloats to Carly about what he did to Stella, and she should consider it a preview of what he'll do to Michael. Liz walks in just as Carly tells Drew that she'll kill him if he messes with Michael.